What's up guys, David Falla here. Welcome to my channel, welcome to another video. On today's video we're going to be doing a crop top. So this crop top is pretty cool, like, in my opinion, just because it's longer on top. So usually a lot of crop tops that I've seen online, they're kind of like short hair. So this one has like long hair on top, so the client can style it kind of like different ways. It doesn't have to be just styled as a crop top. Then on the sides we retain a lot of that weight, so we kind of left that defined line a little bit, so that heavy line is there, but we also obviously faded under that. So I think it's going to be very cool. It's a very square haircut. You guys are going to love it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let's go ahead and start. So let's get right into the video. How you can see, my client's hair is super long. He had an undercut before, so the actual so the top is long, right, but everything else is not as long as I would have liked. So what we're gonna do, the first thing, is gonna obviously wet the top, but I wanna kind of connect the top to the side. So I want to make sure that just because I want to make sure that everything is connected correctly and it has a good shape to it. So before, I want to apologize because for some reason some of the footage didn't record. I have no idea what happened. But so the first thing I did was I want to cut the top shorter. So what I did is I connected the top with the sides. So whatever length was on the brow ridge, like kind of with the head and start rounding, that's exactly what I used to kind of measure what I wanted to do on the top. And that's kind of my perimeter. This is gonna be my perimeter. This is what we're gonna connect to the sides, to the fade, but also this is gonna give me a guide, so I know exactly how much I want to cut on the top. I said in this case, the client had it really long, so the client's not looking for it to be super short either, but just a decent length, right? He likes longer hair on top. So here I'm taking horizontal sections. I look for my guide, which was created when I cut the perimeter, and we're gonna use that guide to cut the top. I'm gonna create a square shape. That means that we're gonna pull all the hair 90 degrees from the floor. We're gonna use the floor as reference, and that's exactly how we're gonna cut the top. And we take small sections. Obviously, be mindful of your sections. You know, you take big sections, you're gonna over direct the hair a lot, so it's just gonna be a hot mess, and it's not gonna be even. You're gonna have like peaks and valleys, so you don't want that. So usually what I do is smaller sections. You know, you will finish quicker, believe it or not. So now we're gonna do exactly the same on the other side. And we're gonna start adding a little bit of texture to that. So I did the same on the other side. How I said, I don't know, for some reason it didn't cut, but you can see, like, you know, I just even everything, and then after that I remember point cutting everything, and I said for some reason it just didn't record. So here we're gonna part the hair right in the middle, and actually we're gonna create, we're gonna part the hair right in the middle just to cross check, just to make sure everything is even. So we're gonna go ahead and look for a guide, and we're gonna cross check using vertical sections, because obviously at the beginning we cut it horizontal, so you always cross check going the opposite way. Here we're gonna detail the fringe, make sure that the front is detailed, and that's it. We're gonna start. The first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and grab a number 4, then we're gonna connect the 4 to that guide that we created. So that the weight line that we created, that's exactly what I'm gonna connect the 4 to. Usually I will do a lever close, but then obviously we can start with a lever open if you would like, or you can start with a longer guard. You don't have to necessarily start with a 4. You can start with something longer. You feel more comfortable that way, and then you can actually down fade from there. So here, just continuing down fading. We use a number 3 right now, lever open, and then I'm closing that lever. I want to remove all that bulk and kind of connect the 3 to the weight line, so like that makes it easier, because I'm honestly just at that point fading from a 3 to a 0. So it's way easier than thinking about it like fading from a I don't know, a 6, 7 to a 0, you know, so that's something to keep in mind. So here I'm using number 1 to kind of start creating my first guideline, and then right under that I would say maybe like a finger length from there I'm creating my number 0, and I'm using just the lever closed to create that guide, and then under that I'm gonna go ahead and use my Super ZR with the 5 zeros to bolt that out pretty much. The reason why I like starting now with the machine with a lever closed is because I feel like if you make the guide with that machine, that's the same machine you're gonna use to remove that guide. So just a little tip for you guys. So here I'm using my electric shaver just to bolt down the bottom, and I'm leaving a little guide between that and the zero that I created, just so I can, just in case that I'll go too high or create a harsh line, I actually have space to remove it. Now that we know where everything is, then we can actually continue down fading. So now I'm using number 2. Remember, we have used a 4 and a 3 before. Now we're using number 2. Lever open, and then we close that lever little by little. And now obviously we're connecting that 2 into a 1, and then we're gonna connect the 1 into a 0, and we're done. So this is obviously way easier to do, just because I don't know, I feel like it's easier to connect from a 3 to a 0 than from, how I say, from like long length to like 7 or 8 to a 0. I don't know. It just feels different. It feels like way quicker when you just cut into a 3. So here we're using 1.5, and we just continue down fading. It's all the same process. We're gonna start with a lever open, then we're gonna close that lever little by little. Here we back to the number 1. This case is going to be a lever open, and then we're going to go ahead and continue closing that lever just to kind of continue connecting, everything, and kind of fading. You can see the square shape on the back and on the sides is very strong shape, which is exactly what we wanted. And you can see a little bit of the weight line that we created, which is something we wanted as well. So that's, so far we're doing good. So now we're gonna go ahead and continue using number 1. Then we're gonna go ahead and use the half or the 0, and continue to use the same process, just down fading. Now we're gonna down fade to the machine with the lever closed, and we'll be done. So here we're gonna go ahead and continue fading the last line. So what I did, I closed that lever. Then what I'm doing, opening that lever little by little, but definitely using a lot of corners because you want to be very careful with the way that you remove the last line, just because obviously you don't want to create more lines since you're almost done. So a lot of corners, so you can have a lot more control. This is something that sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to be able to just use the corners, but the only way you're going to learn is by doing it. So it's a great opportunity to do every time you have a client and he's getting a skin fade and you are down to the last line. Just try to raise that line using the corners, and you see how much easier it is at the end, just because you have a lot more control over what you're doing. So here we're just creating the shape up, and then we're gonna start fading the beard. We're gonna fade the beard a little bit. We're gonna cut the front a little bit, but then everything else is just gonna, the sideburn is gonna be faded into the haircut, and that's and then you're just gonna shape it thick. That's all we're gonna do for the beard. Nothing special necessarily, but something that looks very clean. So here I'm using blending shears to soften the weight line a little bit. I do want the weight line to be there. I want it to be strong and to be defined, but I might not want it to be too defined, because I don't want it to grow out and look disconnected. So I'm just blending a little bit using blending shears. This is something sometimes I use. I don't use blending shears that much, but this will be one occasion I will use them. So now I'm using styling powder to style the top and to give a little bit of that texture. I detextured the top, but for some reason I guess I lost the footage. I use a lot of point cutting, a lot of slicing, a lot of different techniques to kind of give that movement to the hair, and the styling powder is just kind of emphasizes and kind of helps it to be more noticeable, I guess. So that's it, guys. That's the haircut. I think it looks great. I think we transformed our client. Honestly, like, he looks completely different. He was so happy with the transformation. And that's all that matters. Thank you for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe and like it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.